Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a trend that I'm going to be honest with you, I have fully jumped on board with lately, and that is romanticizing your life. This is something that probably most of us started to hear at least something about in the pandemic times around 2020. It's probably existed to some extent for years before that, just because most trends exist at least in some sort of niche for a lot longer before they become a massive deal. But I think the pandemic was the huge catalyst for this. I will admit, even though I probably passively absorbed a lot of content like that during the pandemic and in the years that followed, it's really only in this past year or so that I have fully started to actively seek out this content and actually started to participate with it and love it for what it is. That being said, I've also seen criticism of it. I think it's definitely a nuanced topic, like every topic along these lines. So I thought today it would be fun to talk about this trend with you, to ask you if you've also engaged with it, if you're interested in it, and just to have a chat about it, the pros, the cons, the everything in between, and also why I like it and also why I might not like it, or aspects of it that are maybe not so great. As with all of my videos like this, there is not going to be a structure. I have written down a few little things in my notes app, but I don't have an actual plot for this video. But I do have thoughts and feelings and observations, and that is what we're going to talk about today. And I would love it if you would leave a comment down below letting me know yours as well. So for anybody who has maybe missed this trend, I don't know, algorithms can be weird. Once in a while, huge trends just never make it to your algorithm. Or maybe you have, but you're not quite exactly sure what trend I'm talking about, or you want a little clarification. I will tell you my interpretation of what romanticizing your life means. Everyone's interpretation is probably going to be slightly different, or maybe not everyone's, but there's probably multiple different ways of approaching this. But for me, what romanticizing your life in this trend means is a bit like making yourself a character in a movie and seeing the motions, the daily motions that you go through in your life like you would have seen in a movie. So usually this manifests with the little things like making your coffee, making your dinner, doing your grocery runs, taking your dog for a walk. These things that are everyday things that probably most of us just do and don't really think about. Maybe even some of us do them begrudgingly, especially when it comes to maybe making meals. I say this as someone who is not a very good cook and who doesn't exactly enjoy the process of cooking that much. But imagine a movie where someone's making their coffee. I'm a coffee person. This is tea because it's late in the afternoon, but I love tea and coffee. So imagine someone's making their coffee in the morning and seeing each one of those little motions of preparing your coffee beans and preparing your maker, making yourself coffee, pouring the coffee, truly leaning into those little moments, adding a nice musical background, and just making it look like something beautiful, like you would a more momentous occasion, but doing that with something like going for a walk or putting your shoes on in the morning. That's the idea that I understand behind romanticizing your life. And I'm sure it's something that really took off on TikTok. I'm not super active on TikTok, so I saw it more so through Reels. And more recently, I have started following a lot of vloggers here on YouTube who make videos like that and have like daily or weekly vlogs where they go through those sort of everyday things. They show the highlights of their day, they show maybe some of the lower points as well, but it all has this kind of romantic tone to it. Even when you're talking about something serious and you're bringing up a conversation that is maybe a little bit heavier, it still has this tone of optimism, or at the very least acceptance, calmness. Think about like when you watch a movie like Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice has some very intense dramatic moments. Real things happen, there are real stakes. And yet, when you put on that movie, I'm thinking specifically the 2005 one because that's the one that I grew up watching the most, but whatever version or whatever movie like that you have in your head, it just brings this sense of calm. Not just the Darcy scene at the end, not just when Elizabeth's going on her walks, but also even in the moments that are intense, it still has this very quaint aesthetic that is comforting to me when I put that movie on. And that's the sort of vibe that I get from a lot of this content, especially the longer form vlogs, which is what I love to watch the most. I've become a little bit obsessed, not gonna lie. I have seen some criticisms though. Like any trend, there is usually a counter trend. I have heard maybe some people saying that it's a bit self-indulgent, or there's this idea of like making yourself a main character or being too focused on yourself. That has long been a criticism, I think, of the internet generation in general. I'm 31, I'm a millennial. I grew up very much in the internet era, and millennials were called as maybe self-indulgent or self-centered. Gen Z suffered from that as well, while most people still called them millennials because a lot of people didn't understand that millennial referred to a generation and not just whoever is 15 at this moment. And okay, the internet definitely has changed some of our ways of approaching things. I'm not gonna say that it hasn't, but I think it's a lot more nuanced than simply the internet generation is too self-centered. But this is an interesting criticism of the romanticism trend. And the way that I see it in terms of potentially a negative, and this is how it also applies to me potentially, or how it has in the past, is that it can sometimes give this impression of optimism or like serenity that doesn't always play out in real life. And I think sometimes some of these videos do leave a little bit of that impression, like, that looks a lot better than my life. Why doesn't my life feel like that? My life does not feel so calm and serene. I am a little bit of an anxious girly. I definitely have a lot of stress in my life, even when there's not anything objectively stressful happening to me. So I've experienced stressful things, but also I find stress where there is none. You know how they talk about finding happiness or finding beauty where there isn't beauty? I find stress where there isn't even stress. So sometimes I wonder if at least some of this content doesn't have a little bit of a tinge of unrealism in maybe a not so healthy way. I don't know. I also wonder how much of this is the content itself, because like any trend, lots of different people jump on it. Lots of different people have different impressions of that trend, different spins on it. People have done very creative things with it. It's been inspirational for people to do their own thing. So everybody's gonna have a slightly different take. So one piece of romanticization content is not necessarily like another piece of romanticization content. This is really another reminder to me and to you to choose who you follow carefully. And I don't just mean that in terms of, don't follow people who are harmful or problematic on an objective basis, but also maybe someone's not objectively a bad creator, but they just don't resonate well with you, or they maybe leave an impression on you that's not the best, based on you, based on your personality, based on your lived experiences, based on your current situation. As with any trend on YouTube or on social media as a whole, there's always the risk of coming off with an element of showmanship, or like maybe you're flaunting something, like maybe your life is going better, or your approach to life at the very least, even if something bad happens to you, your approach is better. To where the viewer might come away thinking, why can't I feel like that whenever something shit happens to me? Like, why am I so upset when something happens? Whereas this person still manages to get up in the morning and get the routine done and focus on the other things in life and focus on the ray of sunshine and the silver lining to the gray cloud. And I can't. It doesn't feel like that in real life. And I think that's always a risk with any type of videos and any type of social media content. There are also probably people who lean into this, like any trend on social media. There will be creators with maybe not so great intent who will jump on it, or maybe even creators who don't intentionally have bad intent, if that makes sense, but who will still lean into maybe the not so great aspects of a trend and still maybe contribute to a not so great interpretation of a given trend. And I do think that there's an element of that. There are definitely some pieces of content out there, some videos out there, some approaches, some creators. I'm not gonna name names because I don't even know any of them, to be honest, because most of the stuff that I engage with, if not all of it, is very positive. There are obviously creators out there with lots of issues and who are problematic, but I don't usually find myself on their feeds. I've trained my algorithm well, at least on YouTube. That is why I don't really like TikTok, because there, my algorithm is atrocious. I do think that with this particular trend, that is a minority. I think the majority of people who make content like this are approaching it with the idea that this is celebrating life. This is celebrating the little things. This is enjoying the beauty in life and finding beauty in the things that are not necessarily objectively beautiful, or that maybe we've always overlooked, but they are beautiful. They do hold real beauty, and it's just that we've taken them for granted our entire lives maybe, or at least in the internet age when so many things are glamorized and you have so many things in your feed of people with, I don't know, designer clothes and expensive stuff. That's not in my algorithm because I really just don't vibe with that sort of thing. But you see people going on fancy vacations. You see people who have collections of things that maybe you love. I love pins. This is not a massive collection compared to some people on the internet, but it is just the collection that I want. I love League of Legends. Some people have all the skins. I have probably more than I should because my gamer friends know that that's a really good birthday gift, but there's somebody out there who has them all, and we're constantly bombarded by people whose lives seem better and social media approaches and videos and pictures and things that are glamorizations of great things in life, of big things in life, of glamorous things in life. So it's kind of nice to have a trend that glamorizes or romanticizes, much better word for it, the things that are not glamorous, the things that are not huge deals, the things that are not big and momentous, but the little things, the things that we all experience. And even if we don't share every single little joy with the person that we're watching, it can help us to start appreciating the little joys that we do have, because we all do have those little things. We all wake up in the morning. I guess maybe not if you have a night shift. I should stop this thread before I list off a bunch of things that there's somebody, I'm sure, watching this video who doesn't have that exact one, but I can imagine any of you don't start your day with coffee, but I'm sure there's a huge percentage of you who don't. It horrifies me, but it's true. I say that as if I'm not just sitting here drinking tea, but mornings are for coffee. In all seriousness though, I do think this is a very interesting trend, and while I do understand some of the criticisms that I've read, I think as a whole, the vast majority of the people who create under this trend or in this aesthetic, the vast majority of people who probably consume the content, myself included, are consuming it because it does help us feel more joy in our everyday. And it's just nice to watch as well. There is nothing nicer when you're doing chores or just need a little bit of a calm moment yourself. Even when I'm really stressed, now when I put on a calming, romanticizing sort of vlog, it just makes me feel like calm and more at peace. Seeing somebody have a nice time, like planting plants. I am not a gardener person at all. I don't have a green thumb, not even a tiny bit. Yet, if it's a creator who I'm already invested in, I actually will genuinely love watching them plant flowers in their garden. I don't know, I love it. I think it is absolutely wonderful. I think for me personally, it has definitely helped me to find more joy in those little things. It's helped me to see more beauty in those everyday moments. Instead of getting up and making my cup of coffee as fast as I can because I need the caffeine in my system, some mornings, not all mornings, but some mornings, I have actually been able to enjoy the process and take my time. That's a huge one for me. I am a very fast-paced person and an impatient person. You can probably find videos from when I opened my channel in January of 2013. You can probably already find videos there where I say that I'm impatient. I have always been an impatient person. And maybe these videos, maybe this trend is exactly what people like me need to just chill. So yeah, like I said, I don't have a thesis statement. This is not a video to convince you of one thing or the other. I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know if you watch romanticizing your life sort of content, if you find more good or bad in it personally. There is definitely a huge element of preference of you personally. Maybe you think it's a totally fine trend, but you just don't like it. Maybe you love it, but there are days or there are creators that maybe don't resonate well with you, or that you think maybe it's not such a helpful thing to approach it from that manner. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. This is not cut and dry. This is a very nuanced topic, like any topic about trends, and I think it's interesting. If you are a fan of this trend though, I would also love to know if you have any recommendations, if you have any favorite vloggers specifically, but also Instagram creators, if you follow anyone there. If you have any recommendations that you think I would like, let me know in the comments below, because I would love some more, especially going into autumn and winter. I really would love some more people to follow and some more fun aesthetics to enjoy. As usual, I have really enjoyed making this video. I've really enjoyed just chatting. I love this style of video. Let me know if you like it as well. You can give the video a thumbs up to let me know. But it's been really fun to just chat about stuff that I like with barely any sort of plot. If you want to see the next time that I post, whatever it may be it romanticizing content or just more of my nerd aesthetic, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and you can also turn on notifications to get a little notification when I post my next video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon in another video.